There's other theories swirling around about Charlie's assassination.
Right.
How does that make you feel?
When everything happened, my phone died and became a black hole. I just didn't turn it on for weeks on end. I've intentionally insulated myself because I need to guard my heart, and I need to be there for my kids, and I need to be there for Turning Point. And what I've realized through all of this is that everyone grieves differently. Everyone is trying to figure out, and I don't blame them, how does this happen? How does somebody become so radicalized where they can justify this in their own head? We just lost one of the greatest voices of our generation. Why? How? What's behind it? Like, everyone's trying to process this. And I respect that. But where my heart is just asking for some grace is for the ones who were there that day. They have to relive that every single day. He didn't die in a car accident. He didn't die from cancer. He was assassinated. And the difference between this and previous assassinations in this country is there was no social media. There was no AI. I can tell you how many fake images are out there of all of this. And again, my only request is that just please pray and consider and think about whatever you put online, because it's going to impact his kids in the future. I don't want my kids to go on the internet one day when they're older and see things that it's just, we're all trying to process this in their own way, and I appreciate that. But just some grace would be nice.
None of this is suspicious. Then he gets shot. Mikey is there. He sees it. He sees it happen right there. The team comes together. That's Frank Turk on the left that they claim is doing hand signals. Mike is back there. They try to say that Mikey's on the phone. You can't tell what Mike is doing there. He's probably holding his head thinking, I just saw my best friend get shot in the neck. On video, TBUSA Chief of Staff Mikey McCoy stands near Charlie. A shot rings out. Mikey lifts the phone to his ear, turns, and walks away before Kirk falls. Music. Then, in her first speech, Erika Kirk says, and I want to thank the Turning Point USA Board and my husband's Chief of Staff, the amazing Mikey McCoy. She emphasizes the phrase, the amazing Mikey McCoy, twice, but it's that moment that raises questions. Why was Charlie's supposed best friend and trusted teammate able to remain so calm in the midst of such an incident? Why did he choose to leave instead of going to his friend who had just been in trouble? A new viral video shows Mikey leaving the frame before Charlie fell off his chair, almost as if he knew the entire situation was about to unfold. And it was the man Erika Kirk called amazing, in her first public appearance since her husband's death, all of which makes the story all the more difficult to explain. Candace Owens recently revealed that Mikey McCoy refused to say who he was on the phone with at the exact moment of the Charlie incident. Now Candace is questioning Mikey's sequence of actions both before and immediately after the incident. According to the recording, Mikey was behind the tent when Charlie got shot, and Mikey in less than a second does something that I find to be quite strange. He puts his phone to his ear and he begins a conversation. What Candace hasn't mentioned, however, is Erika Kirk's equally confusing reaction. Both Erika and Pastor Rob McCoy, Mikey's father, claimed that Mikey called them after the incident. But if they're both right, why don't the timing and sequence match up? And if neither of them is telling the truth, who was the call really meant to reach? Or worse, was it not made for the reason they claimed? Things seem to be unfolding into a much more complicated picture, one where trust and close relationships are being tested. It feels like Charlie has been surrounded by the people he once trusted the most, but no one is truly on his side when things fall apart. And while viewers are still trying to piece together the story, Erika Kirk appears radiantly in a post-production video, coordinating the work, directing the new shooting schedule. We're going to be doing about 5 more episodes a week now, so just tell the team and make sure that happens. 3 hours of this, 2 more hours of, it's like, lady, wasn't your husband just publicly executed only a couple of weeks ago? I've never had this much joy on my best day. She's just full of joy. Okay, let's first break down the Mikey McCoy saga because Charlie Kirk's fans are flooding social media, claiming that the man needs to be held accountable for the September 10th incident. All eyes are on Mikey, Charlie's chief of staff, the man considered his closest right-hand man. What caught everyone's attention was not just what happened in that moment, but how Mikey reacted immediately after the incident. A newly released video shows him remaining calm, holding the phone to his ear, and starting to talk just seconds after the incident. There was no sign of panic, no reflex to rush toward his beloved boss. Instead, he quietly turned and walked away as if he knew what was coming. In a later statement, Erika Kirk said, "I want to thank the leadership of Turning Point USA and my husband's chief of staff, the amazing, absolutely amazing Mikey McCoy." The statement suddenly becomes meaningful when juxtaposed with the images the public is talking about. Put yourself in that position. Your boss, your companion of many years, has just had a serious incident right in front of you, and you remain calm, showing no sign of surprise. In slow motion, Mikey can be seen making a call and leaving the area just before Charlie loses his balance. Later, as people gather around to handle the situation, Mikey remains standing in the background, continuing to talk on the phone, his back to the scene. He can't tell exactly what's going on behind him, but he seems to be reporting or talking to someone, and that detail makes the story all the more ambiguous. Who is on the other end of the line? Why did that call happen at that exact moment? And most importantly, what did Mikey really know that the rest of the world was still trying to figure out? Mikey's father, Pastor Rob McCoy, has publicly shared that his son called him immediately after the incident, saying that Charlie had a serious neck injury. He said, "Mashadi called me." He says, "Dad, Charlie's been shot in the neck. Please call every pastor and pray. He's okay, son. He has wits about him. He was just directing. He had blood all over him." However, some witnesses at the scene said that this story does not match the reality. Many people claimed that Mikey was not near the area at the time of the incident, nor did he appear in the condition described. In fact, according to viral videos, Mikey left the area just before Charlie lost his balance and did not return for the next few minutes. This has raised a series of questions from the public. Why is there such an obvious contradiction? Why did Pastor Rob McCoy add in a detail that could easily be dismissed? Was it a panic mistake or an attempt to make Mikey look like an innocent witness instead of someone whose role in the whole incident needs to be clarified? All of these little details contribute to a story that is a maze of contradictions, where the truth seems to be obscured by conflicting accounts. Things got even more confusing when Erika Kirk herself claimed that she was the one who received the call from Mikey McCoy. This is one of Charlie's guys, and it makes me so effing mad because there are a lot of little lies being told, right? Charlie gets assassinated, and the very people who were threatening him, reputationally and financially, are now trying to memorialize him as having died as a friend of Israel. Okay, challenge accepted. All lies will be revealed, and we're going to help reveal those lies. Right after the incident on September 21st, the New York Times published an exclusive interview with Erika. In it, she said, "Miss Kirk was sitting in her mother's hospital room at 11:23 a.m. Phoenix time when the phone number of Mikey McCoy, her husband's longtime assistant, popped up on the screen. Looking back, she said she knew she would hear the words, 'He's in trouble.' Even before Mr. McCoy spoke. If that were true, both Erika and Pastor Rob McCoy, Mikey's father, claimed that they were the first to be called just seconds after the incident. But this leads to a paradox. How could Mikey have called both of them at the same time if it wasn't a group call? And if it was a group call, why didn't either of them mention that crucial detail? Their accounts contradict each other. Erika says Mikey yelled he's in trouble, while Rob McCoy says Mikey specifically said Charlie had a neck injury. The two descriptions are completely different and do not match what is seen in the viral video. On video, TPUSA Chief of Staff Mikey McCoy stands near Charlie. A shot rings out. Mikey lifts the phone to his ear, turns, and walks away before Kirk falls. No visible dial motion, no rush to aid. Why? Mikey's silence since then has added to the mystery. He has never publicly explained who he called, why he left the area so quickly, or why his actions seemed like a deliberate reflex. Meanwhile, both Erika and Pastor Rob have stuck to their original accounts, even though many details have been publicly criticized for illogicality. Some observers have suggested that this may be a case of pre-written scripts where everyone tells the same story, but each person adds their own details, making the picture confusing. It has also been suggested that Erika is trying to reinforce Mikey's image as a loyal and brave person, while Rob McCoy wants to protect his son's reputation amid a wave of suspicion. Either way, these contradictions have made the public no longer see the case as a clear chain of events. Instead, it is more like a puzzle waiting to be solved where each detail, no matter how small, can change the whole picture. And until Mikey McCoy speaks up, the question of who did he really call remains the biggest mystery of the whole story. Amidst the controversy and speculation surrounding Mikey McCoy's role, Turning Point USA, TPUSA, has finally spoken out. Their spokesperson, Andrew Colvett, said that the allegations against Mikey were completely baseless and personal. This is an extremely disgusting attack. And I can speak to that because I was there when it happened and I was next to Mikey when it happened. And what I can say is, I can't say every single thing that happened, but I want to talk about this specific narrow thing that the shooting occurs. I am next to Mikey. Both of us hear a loud crack. We both turn. We both see Charlie, who has been shot. Both of us, I think at about the same time, realize that that means there is a shooter who is on the scene. You just hear the crack, so you don't know. Did it come from far away? Did it come from close? Is there a mass shooter unfolding right now? So I and him both had the reaction of, let's get out of here before we are both shot. That is not us abandoning Charlie, had a security team. They all leapt immediately into action, and I'll never forget what I saw because it was clear in the moment that he was profoundly freaked out. What I'll always remember is the way his lip was quivering, which I'd never seen before. And you very rarely see from someone that he was freaking out. And then I think he literally said to me, I might be imagining this, but I think what he literally said was and then he was looking around and then he says, I need to call Erika. And he takes his phone and he begins calling Erika. I put that phone away and then he immediately calls his dad. He calls Robin McCoy and he says, Dad, someone's shot Charlie. You need to call all of your pastor friends. Charlie was hit. We need everyone to pray right now. However, TPUS's response did not quell the wave of suspicion. On the contrary, it further divided public opinion. Many have argued that if Mikey was truly stunned and reacted naturally, why is there no sign of confusion or panic in the video? He brought the phone to his ear too quickly without dialing a number. It looks more like a deliberate action than a reflex. Others have defended Mikey, saying people are judging behavior too harshly in times of extreme stress. No one can know how they will react in such an event. One viral comment on X reads, "You can panic, you can freeze, or you can pick up your phone just to feel safe." We can't judge someone's psychology from a few seconds of footage. The central question, though, remains unanswered. Why don't Mikey, Erika, and Rob McCoy's accounts match? Why do all three describe different details of the same moment? And if Colvett was really with Mikey as he claims, why is there no evidence in the video that he was also present at that location? These questions continue to fuel debate. While TPUSA has tried to defend Mikey's image, the online community is seeing this as one of the biggest shady spots in the entire Charlie Kirk story. Because so far, despite all sides speaking out, no one has provided direct evidence. No call transcripts, no timestamps, no technical evidence to confirm the sequence of events. And it is this gap between the narrative, the silence, and the edited footage that makes things more ambiguous than ever. Charlie Kirk was shot, and Mikey McCoy immediately ran away like a coward. You can see him right here sprinting away from the scene. His dad, Roy McCoy, who has been implied was Charlie Kirk's pastor, has now been busted lying, saying that his son was covered in blood. He had blood all over him. It's almost like he's on the call already. The phone is in his hand, and then he immediately turns, runs off with his hands like this. See him running in the background like a coward. His dad says he was on the phone with him directing the whole operation. He had wits about him. He was just directing. He was not wasting any time. This is way before anybody else had left the scene. There's Charlie in the SUV, and you can see him up in the background bailing. Some call it the strangest case in TPUSA history. Others believe the truth is still being withheld somewhere, waiting to be revealed one day. But wait, there's one crucial point that almost no one in TPUSA has bothered to address. Why did Pastor Rob McCoy tell the world that his son was covered in blood? That statement, repeated in numerous speeches, has become a point of contention. Yet to date, no evidence or clarification has been provided to clarify it. In the videos from the scene, Mikey McCoy is not seen in that state at all. He is not near Charlie, does not bend down, does not touch him, and even leaves the area seconds after the incident. So why add that detail to the story? Was Rob McCoy trying to portray his son as a devoted, emotional victim instead of someone whose role needs to be clarified? Or was it just a fatherly instinct, wanting to protect his son in the midst of a storm of suspicion? Whatever the cause, the inconsistencies in the narrative have made the story more opaque than ever. Because if Mikey really didn't go back to check on Charlie, how could he have known his condition? To call Erika and Rob McCoy to tell him? That question has caused the online community to explode. Some people think Mikey just acted on instinct, panicked, and left. But many also question, could he have known the outcome before it happened? A dangerous theory, but also something that millions of people are discussing on TikTok, Reddit, and X. And in the midst of everything still being in turmoil, Erika Kirk suddenly stunned the public with the way she appeared in her first speech after the incident. In front of thousands of people in television cameras, she spoke calmly with a slight smile on her face. I want to thank the first responders who struggled heroically, and I want to thank the Turning Point USA board, the COO, Justin Strife, and my husband's chief of staff, the amazing Mikey McCoy. Wait a minute. That question opened a wave of suspicion because not only Erika, but shortly after, conservative radio host Frank Turk also called him the great Mikey McCoy in a live interview, saying, and this is the man who was there right before it happened, the great Mikey McCoy, twice publicly praised, twice mentioned with special honor, amid questions about his actions from the world. So what is going on here? Why are TPUSA and those close to Charlie Kirk so intent on portraying Mikey as an unsung hero when footage shows him leaving the scene before security personnel arrived? Is this a media strategy to bolster trust and control the narrative? A rapidly spreading theory is that Mikey McCoy may have important information about the incident and that public praise is a way to protect him from doubt or confrontation. If someone is constructing the official story for TPUSA, Mikey as Charlie's chief of staff could be the central figure, the one who holds the key to the whole mystery. TPUSA, of course, denies this completely. But when one looks back at the timeline, it all seems too coincidental. Mikey appears just before the incident, leaves shortly, and is praised in official statements afterward. Meanwhile, the fundamental questions, who was called first? When did the call take place? Why do the three people's accounts contradict each other are never answered? And it is this silence shrouded in over-the-top praise that makes the audience feel like they are witnessing a play with too many layers. Is Mikey McCoy the Great more than just a term of endearment, but a media code, a way to shape an image before the public can ask deeper questions? Because in a world where every frame can be slowed down, a smile, a thank you, or a name is sometimes more than just an innocent gesture. It's a sign of a larger story being told. The idea that is spreading quickly online is that Charlie Kirk may have been betrayed from within by the very people who once called him brother, his colleagues, his close associates, people who built their careers, their reputations, and their power on his name. And for many, the picture is starting to emerge. Charlie may have discovered something bigger, and his sudden departure was not just a tragedy, but the result of an underlying power struggle. As for Erika Kirk, more and more people are convinced that everything seems to have been orchestrated. Her rapid rise to the top of Turning Point USA, TPUSA, within days of the incident has many wondering, was this the natural reaction of a devoted widow who wanted to continue her husband's legacy? Or was it a carefully planned move? The way she appeared, calm, confident, well supported by the media, didn't look like someone trying to recover from a loss, but rather like someone ready to take on a new role. And then there was a post that went viral on social media, allegedly from a former TPUSA insider. While the identity of the poster was not verified, the content sent shivers down the spines of many because of its logic. The post claimed that TPUSA had been corrupted from a political organization to a sophisticated financial and influence peddling network. The person claimed that Charlie had uncovered illicit money flows, unexplained donations, and backroom deals with some internationally influential figures. According to the post, Charlie had begun asking questions. He was said to have planned to make the organization's entire financial operations transparent, a move that the real power holders in the shadows didn't want. When he changed his stance and began to doubt TPUS's biggest strategic ally, it was seen as a direct threat to the powerful donors, not because of his political views, but because he could bring down the entire system. The poster even wrote, "Tupusa was once an idealistic organization, but it was hijacked from within." The executives no longer served Charlie's beliefs, but the interests of the donors who controlled the scenes. Charlie knew it, and he was prepared to reveal the truth. If this is true, the biggest question is who knew about Charlie's plans in advance? Who inside knew that if Charlie went public, the entire network would be shaken? And was Mikey McCoy's silence and Erika Kirk's rise the two pieces that helped maintain stability during that chaotic period? Of course, for now, it's all just speculation. There is no hard evidence to prove that TPUSA was actually involved in the actions the Post alleges. But what has people hooked on this theory is that every little detail seems to fit together in a strange way. Charlie's about to announce an internal audit. Several sponsors pull out before the incident. Erika steps in shortly after as the new leader. Mikey McCoy remains absolutely silent despite being the only one by Charlie's side at the most crucial moment. And that collective silence speaks for itself. Is this just a social media conspiracy theory? Or are we really witnessing a story of power, ambition, and betrayal in the shadows? Let me know what you think in the comments below. Do you think Mikey McCoy and Erika Kirk are involved in some form of cover-up or manipulation? Or do you believe they are just people caught up in a tragedy that spiraled out of control? Regardless, one thing is certain. The deeper we delve, the more confusing the picture becomes. And it feels like every character in this story, be they leaders, employees, or relatives, knows more than they dare to admit. The stories of Charlie Kirk, Mikey McCoy, and Erika Kirk, while still shrouded in mystery, are powerful reminders of power, trust, and transparency in large organizations. Beneath the glitter of fame and influence, there are complex relationships where self-interest can sometimes override the original ideal. First, silence is not just an expression of grief, but also a strategy. In stories with too much conflict, the person who remains silent may be protecting something or hiding something they don't want to be revealed. And for the public, the lesson is learn to question every constructed narrative. Not every story told on stage or in the media reflects the whole truth. Second, this story also exposes the limits of loyalty in a powerful environment. When fame, money, and influence are intertwined, the line between teammate and rival becomes blurred. Someone can stand next to you in the spotlight, but leave in a flash when the lights go out. Third, if what is being spread is true, it is also a warning to anyone in power. The truth can never be hidden forever, even when it is covered up by sophisticated media campaigns or well-intentioned praise. The truth has a way of surfacing through conflict, through reaction, or through what people deliberately leave unsaid. Finally, this story suggests something more poignant than anything else. Any empire, no matter how powerful, is vulnerable to collapse when trust is broken from within. Charlie Kirk may have represented a generation of young leaders with ideals and beliefs, but if the people around him only saw the benefits instead of the mission, then the so-called organization was nothing more than a stage where everyone was playing their own role. And for the audience, perhaps the biggest lesson is don't believe everything you see. Believe what no one wants you to see. The truth may be delayed, but it never disappears. Where there is a moment of silence, there is something bigger at work.